Now, that picture that I saw on Billboard, were you performing with him, or he just came backstage to rap?
No, that was a misprint. That was actually in the studio.
Oh, when you were
happened.
recording the album?
Yeah.
Huh, I didn't know that.
And you can see in the edge of the picture, there's the corner of the control board is in there. So I don't know how they screwed that up.
Can't trust anything you read. I don't know. There seems to be a great change in people's taste in music. The big thing a couple of years ago was disco, and everybody was getting into that. And you really don't seem to be very prone to the different styles and things. You pretty much stay within your own style of music. Do you feel that the music for the future is going to be more the type of sound that you're doing, or
no?
You really don't? You always feel that you'll be in your own little niche?
I think so, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a trendy kind of music, this music.
What do you think that you could do to get it a little more acceptable to people?
I have to get out there and play a lot more. There's a lot of people, a lot of rock fans out there that haven't heard this kind of music.
Right.
Ever.
Right.
Because radio stations do not play this kind of music.
Why do you think?
Except for jazz stations.
Why do you think that is?
They're afraid of it.
Really? Afraid? How afraid? That it's going to become so popular that...
Yeah, I mean...
Now, wouldn't that make them more money?
That's one viewpoint, and then there's another side to it. I think they also think that anything that is instrumental should be labeled jazz. It shouldn't be included into their format, which is insane.
I agree with you.
You know,
there is so much music out there, and when I'm not doing this, I work at a record store, and I think the greatest feeling that I get is being able to play a record in the store, something that nobody would ever get a chance to hear anywhere else, and have people come up to me and say, "What is that? Where can I get that?" What do you think that we can do, you and me or anybody else out there, to open the channels of radio?
You have to call radio stations. You have to call the leading rock radio stations in your town. And my fans normally don't call stations. They're not that type of people. Little kids call, you know, teenagers.
Right.
Young teenagers call rock stations, and they want to hear their favorite pop idol, you know. But I've been encouraging people to call radio stations. That's how you get airplay.
It would seem to me that there has to be something that the people in charge of the radio stations, there has to be some sort of criteria that they come up with to decide this particular record that they get. I mean, they must get, I don't know, hundreds of records a week, and they have to sit there and play them, and they have to come up with I guess, the psychic ability to be able to predict if this record is going to make it, or if that record is going to make it, etc. And I just always wondered what they use in their head to come up with something like that, you know, as opposed to ignoring all sorts of amazing music that is around. A case in point.
Most of them don't know that much about music.
You're listening for a catchy hook that anybody in the world could just, you know, enjoy, and just put the record on and just kind of forget about it.
I think so. I've done a lot of radio interviews across the country, a lot of leading rock stations, and I'm very surprised at some of these people that run the stations.
They really don't seem to have any idea what they're doing, and yet they dictate the tastes of this country.
To give you an example, I did an interview at a station in Birmingham, Alabama, one of the leading rock stations there. I went and did the interview at about 1 or 2 in the afternoon, and about 2 minutes into the interview, I can tell that the interviewer didn't know anything about me or my music. And so I asked him, I said, "Do you play my music on your station?" He said, "Oh, no, we don't play it, but there's a jazz hour from 12 to 1 in the morning."
Now, why would you be on this station if the guy had absolutely no idea who you were?
Well,
if you don't...
You know.
That's fun.
But anyway...
It's embarrassing.
I said, "You mean you only play it for 1 hour every night, this type of music?" He said, "Yeah, that's it." So why don't you include some of my music into your rock show? Don't you think there's
And this is
rock
on the
elements? Yeah. Why don't you think there are rock elements in my music? He says, "Oh, absolutely not." I said, "You mean to tell me that you would call this straight ahead jazz?" He said, "Yeah, this is jazz." I said, "All right, fine. Have you listened to Casino?" He says, "Not really, but I intend to." He said, said, all right, I'll play you a track on this album. You tell me what this track sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me if it's jazz or rock. So I played him a tune called Chasing the Voodoo.
Yeah.
You know that tune?
Yeah, it's like heavy metal almost. I mean, it has that kind of a roughness to
So
it.
I played him it and took the record off and said, okay, now what would you label that? He said, jazz.
He's never heard Count Basie, I guess, or something.
You'll be surprised how many think that. It is instrumental, and you know, I don't know where they get their ideas.
I don't know. Have you heard Brand X's music?
Oh yeah.
Now there is a case in point. Brand X is there's lots of improvisation in the music. I would call that more jazzy than your music.
Mm-hmm.
Only in that yours seems to follow a structure. There's not that much improvisation in it. It seems it's pretty much laid out. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But with Brand X, it's lots of improvisation. Yet we put Brand X in our store in the rock section. Mm-hmm. See? Why? Because Phil Collins is in Genesis, and Genesis is a quote rock band.
Right.
So naturally, anything that Phil Collins does is going to be considered rock. You, on the other hand, you're in the jazz section all the time.
And why do you think that?
Perhaps because of your association with Chick Corea.
That's exactly why.
You know.
Okay. Because Jeff Beck can put out an all-instrumental record with Jan Hammer, and he'll get play on every rock station in the country.
And they call it rock.
Right.
But
because of Jeff Beck playing with the Yardbirds or whatever
right,
he did with
Rod
Stewart in the
and all
past.
that. Yeah.
You know.
It's really weird.
It's insane.
Yeah. Because I think that if they were able to, it's the word that they used, cross, anyway, to be able